You know, it's always great to see the personal side of these TNA superstars.
And next week, another chance to go behind the scenes with BG and Kip James on Rough Cut.
I'm here with James Mitchell along with Judas Mesias, and I have one question for you. Can you give us any indication as to the whereabouts of your son, the Monster Abyss?
Well, you know, Mr. Borash, I've never been one to brag. In fact, the fact is, I really don't like to talk about myself, do I? But I am here tonight to tell all of the great unwashed masses in the impact zone and watching the idiot box at home. Don't you ever doubt me again. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. My number one son, Judas Mesias, did exactly what he promised me he would do. Abyss is no more. In a fit of shame, he removed his mask and walked off into the darkness with his tail shoved firmly up his ass. And now the nightmare is over. And you, Abyss, or Chris, you can go join your mother in the loony bin. I'm sure there's a rubber room waiting for you with your name on it. Now this brings us tonight, JB, to everyone's favorite dipsomaniac, Rhino, or should I say, Wino. Wino, we've all heard about your struggles with alcohol. We've heard how you love the fruit of the vine. And the fact is, you never listened to me years ago when we were on speaking terms, and I told you that the key was indulgence, not compulsion. You see, the difference between you, Rhino, and my son, Judas Mesias, is that he never drinks wine or hooch or bathtub gin. But he does have a taste for blood. And I have directed him tonight to drink yours. And I'm going to take great pleasure watching him bite chunk after chunk out of your flesh. So you can drink some of that. And I will giggle maniacally while you choke on your own blood. Bottoms up.
Is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first from Detroit, Michigan, the War Machine, Rhino!
It was last week here on Impact when James Storm, after an assist from Jacqueline, won the drinking championship belt in the ladder match, that Rhino not only gored the cowboy out of his boots, surprisingly, he then took possession of Storm's drinking title belt, a move that shocked us in light of Rhino's admitted problems through the years with alcohol.
See, Storm, you see this belt? It's a lot like you, a piece of crap. And you know what I do to a piece of crap?
Oh, man alive, he just smashing that belt like on the steel ring.
See, Storm, the pieces that litter this ring represent your skull. Because at Destination X, you're going to fall 15 feet head first. So bring up my opponent so I can rip him in half with a gore.
Sunday, it's Elevation X against James Storm. But up next, Rhino faces Judas Mesias when we return to Impact.
Ladies and gentlemen, the opponent in this match, accompanied to the ring by Father James Mitchell from the depths of hell, Judas Mesias.
The arrival of Judas Mesias with Father James Mitchell once again reminds us of that bizarre situation that occurred several weeks back right here on Impact. The Monster Abyss coming off one of the biggest wins of his career. The Barbed Wire Massacre match, and against all odds, he not only declined to compete in a bout against Scott Steiner, Abyss then walked out of the Impact Zone after unmasking himself. And just to update that situation, we are now 3 weeks later, and no one has heard from Abyss. He's just completely disappeared, dropped right off the face of the earth.
I mean, it's just that whole situation with James Mitchell revealing himself to the world as Abyss's father, and think of the Barbed Wire Massacre and everything that Abyss has gone through. It's almost like he's just emotionally exhausted, Mike, is my guess, and he just doesn't have it in him anymore. And I still think of that last sight of him just walking out with the mask lying there on the ramp.
The most dangerous match in professional wrestling returns this Sunday at Destination X. Yes, it is Elevation X. It's the War Machine Rhino against the Cowboy James Storm, but the story really is that steel structure. 2 stories high, 2 tons of steel, Don, and they will be fighting high above the ring in Norfolk, Virginia this Sunday at Destination X. To win, you've got to knock your opponent off that steel structure and watch him fall 2 stories down to the mat below. And there goes Mesias back first into the steel.
Well, one thing about it, you see a nice punch right there by Mesias on the Rhino. We saw last week where James Storm has got to come to grips with his fear of heights. It was obvious as he was trying to climb that ladder that he's looking ahead to this Sunday at Elevation X. And let me tell you something. You can't have fear rule you when you're up on top of that structure. Yeah, you've got to respect it. Yeah, you've got to be afraid, but you can't let it rule you. And Rhino, he's had that experience up there. To me, it gives him a great advantage.
Don, for over 5 years, you've watched every match in TNA. I know that even you and even I, we're apprehensive when it comes to the danger factor involved in a match like Elevation X this Sunday.
Oh, just seeing the faces on the people in the crowd and Mike looking up. How many times did you and I turn away? You're always afraid at any split second a career is going to come to an end as Judas Mesias gets the boot up, and wow, nice clothesline as Judas Mesias trying to get the momentum in this match.
And then Mesias goes directly to the mount of the War Machine and pounds in with a series of shots, right hand after right hand to the side of the head of Rhino. You want all the late-breaking news on that Elevation X match, all the story behind the danger involved when Rhino faces James Storm? Go to TNA Mobile. Text TNA to 76,000. You get all the details on Elevation X and 1 free week of TNA Mobile. How about the impact right there as Rhino crashed back first into the corner turnbuckle?
Well, it's obvious that he's looking ahead to Sunday, and how can you not? It's just a kind of match that's got to occupy your mind 24/7, every single second of every single day. As you see the penitent by Mesias so close, Rhino just by reflex gets his shoulder up. But Rhino obviously looking ahead to Sunday, and Judas Mesias, without having to worry about the Monster Abyss anymore, is taking control.
Boy, that is a situation that the War Machine can't afford to fall into. That look-ahead factor with Elevation X this Sunday, but you've got to concentrate on somebody here as effective, as powerful as Father James Mitchell's son, Judas Mesias, who's going to go high risk.
Still to come, the TNA Knockout Champion, Awesome Kong in action. Mesias goes. Oh, he misses and catches nothing but canvas. And don't forget, in the 6 sides of steel, the score's tied 1-1. Christian Cage against Kurt Angle.
Rhino, the War Machine, has Mesias directly in his sights. Got him measured.
Gore! Gore! Gore!
Here's the pin, and the Gore gets him the 3 count.
Here's your winner, the War Machine, Rhino.
Momentum on the side of Rhino as he heads into Norfolk, Virginia. Elevation X at Destination X this Sunday against, the Cowboy, the Tennessee Cowboy, James Storm, in the most dangerous match in professional wrestling today.
Speaking of which, there he is, the Cowboy right behind him. Rhino doesn't see it. Oh, man, he hits him with the last call. That super kick. And now look at him screaming in the face of the War Machine.
Oh, check out the intimidation tactics by Jacqueline and James Storm. Storm's trying to get inside the head of Rhino before Elevation X